It's like with corpse paint spikes, and people say it's a cliche. It's a cliche to me if you're not wearing them.
Yeah.
It's a cliche to me if you're not making the effort. If you're not making the effort, why the fuck would the crowd make the effort watching you?
Yeah.
Visually, the visual aspect, not equally, but it's as important as the music.
Mm.
If you go on stage and you're fucking ripping it up and everything else, and yeah, you do drop a few fuck ups musically, it's a good chance people won't even see that.
Yeah.
But if you're stood there in t-shirt, shorts and white pumps, not fucking giving it anything, people aren't gonna give a damn.
Yeah, yeah. Greetings, friends, and welcome to episode 194 of Into the Necrosphere. This is a special Friday installment of the podcast, and I am talking to my good friend Dagon of the band Heathen Deity. This is the last of the in-person episodes that I recorded at ReaperFest earlier in the year. I caught Dagon a couple of hours after he ripped it up on stage, and we spoke all about Heathen Deity's new album, or I should say most recently released album, True English Black Metal. We spoke about what the future holds for the band, Dagon's approach to performance, his side projects, and much more. It is going to be coming your way very shortly. It's going to be an abbreviated episode, this one. I did my news rant and my review of the new Marduk earlier in the week, and if you haven't checked out episode 193 featuring John McKinty and Chuck Sherwood of Incantation yet, then make sure that you change that post-haste. Here's another thing that you need to make sure. If you are new to the podcast and you like what you hear or you enjoy what you see, then grab the nearest folding chair and beat the subscribe button on your platform of choice until it's begging you for mercy. Also, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And if you really want to show your love and support for the show, you can do so by heading over to the Into the Necrosphere Teespring store and availing yourself of some of the fine merchandise on offer there. Make sure as well that you follow my fellow horsemen of the podcasting apocalypse. Every Monday we've got Brandon Legion bringing you interviews with horror luminaries, folks that are working in the horror genre, writers, producers, actors, etc. With his podcast Horror Wolf 666. Every Tuesday, yours truly is casting hexes and slaying poses on Into the Necrosphere. This coming Tuesday, my guest is going to be the great Alan Averill of Primordial, returning triumphantly to the podcast. Let me tell you something, if you thought our last conversation was spicy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Every Wednesday, Sensei Mike Hill brings you his long-running podcast, Everything Went Black, and then he returns on a Thursday with one of my favorite shows of the week, Necromaniacs, alongside his inimitable co-hosts, Professor Mike Scandado, or actually I should say Sheriff Mike Scandado and Professor Jeff Kashid. On a Sunday, the Reverend Carl Haikara brings you on a solemn, somber journey through the dark, the weird, the arcane, and the esoteric with his podcast, Soul Knox. And then rounding out the horsemen is my good friend Cheyenne of the band Trivax, waiting in the wings, ready to pounce at a moment's notice. He tends to drop his or episodes of his podcast, Iblis Manifestations, intermittently. So make sure that you follow us all, and a massive thanks to those that do. It's very interesting because I certainly see on the socials that there's a lot of overlap between our audiences. Necromaniacs obviously has the Necrophone. I've heard a couple of folks call into that podcast and talk about how much they enjoy all of our shows. So great to see that overlap, great to see this community we're building, and it inspires us to try and push this further and further, and put out better content for you. As I've said before, jokingly, but also probably not all that jokingly, we are united in the war against shit content. Sit back right now, though, my friends, and enjoy as I welcome back to Into the Necrosphere my friend Dagon of Heathen Deity.
Every gig you go to, it's like, okay, microphone plugged in, it's like, hey, check, microphone.
Yeah.
Is that all you're going to do? So what do you mean is all I'm going to do? It's like, well, do what you're going to do. So I'm just making sure the fucking thing's plugged in, youth.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so what are you going to do? You're just going to sing check all the way. Shut the fuck up.
But again, like you guys also, you have the benefit where your music has enough you could have the worst possible sound check, and you're still going to be able to convey kind of what you want to convey, because you're not that lost in your own technicality that the slightest, bit of feedback, background noise, fuzz, whatever, fucks the whole setup you completely. Like I was saying to you before we started recording, I remember that Hate Eternal show being so psyched up for it. We were 3 songs in, and I said to the friend of mine that I was with, like, I don't even know what song I'm listening to. Like, this is so fucking bad. There's no point being here. I'm going to leave. So
it's because if it doesn't go to the point perfect,
yeah,
you lose where you are, and the crowd loses where they are. I think it comes to, I mean, obviously they've had a fucked up more experience than we have, but it just comes down to experience live, and maybe it comes down more to having things fuck up live,
yeah,
and getting past it and knowing tricks to get past it.
Yeah.
And you don't stop. Whatever you do, just don't fucking stop. Don't make it obvious that something's fucked up. And
well, actually, they're getting.
You saying we fucked up tonight?
No, I did not. No. What I was going to say, the fuck ups are sometimes part of the magic as well. Like, when I see a live show, I was talking to Cheyenne about this earlier today. Like, I was saying to him, like, and you'll be shocked when I say this, I'll probably lose like my cult credentials. One of the best live shows I've ever seen, and it's partly because I have become obsessed with this particular event. It was a horrible event, but it was because of the time in my life that it occurred. I feel like it was kind of it was sort of the end of my childhood in a way. So Woodstock 99. One of the best performances I've ever seen. You can hate the bloke until you're blue in the face, but Limp Bizkit, the show that they did at Woodstock 99, I mean, there were riots and people, getting hurt, and apparently, all sorts of, female fondling and stuff in the audience. But Jesus Christ, it's a masterclass in how to engage the audience and make the audience feel like they're part of the show. Which again, what I loved about you today.
You don't have to enjoy the music.
Yeah, exactly. To appreciate what the person's doing. Yeah. That's what I liked about you today. You were very like, the crowd were lethargic because it's the beginning of the day, and you went out to like. So not just give them. You don't have an option to be part of this. If you're standing in within spitting distance of us, you're part of the show.
Our drummer always makes me laugh sometimes. The last show, he said that was that was kind of verging on abuse. It's like when the crowd doesn't react to me, it annoys me, and I step it up a gear. And apparently I got to a level. He goes, you're getting to the point now where it's abuse. It's not entertainment anymore. It's abuse.
So see, I don't even mind the abuse. It's like you think about James Hetfield in the beer days and the stuff he used to shout at the audience. Brilliant. Yeah. I fucking loved it. I'd much rather be there than see James Hetfield of 2022.
What are you going to do?
And it's like, hello, friends.
He said a bad word. I'm going, no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hello, friends. I don't want any of that. I want to feel fired up when I'm seeing a band. Like, Phil Anselmo at his peak, absolute fantastic, like yelling, shouting at the audience. Get the audience fired up, make them feel like they're part of something that they cannot experience sat in their living room listening to the record. Because that's the biggest problem, I think. I think in a weird way, the pandemic has kind of amplified that in a way, because people got used to consuming music sat by themselves in the living room. They got away from shows, and obviously, like I think you and I discussed, people are much more excited now about going to shows, but at the same time, there's almost this awkwardness I noticed today, where sometimes it's like they don't quite know how. It's like they've forgotten how to respond to it. It's like today. You guys finished playing the one song, and all of a sudden, you've done a great.
It's quiet.
Yeah,
really quiet.
The performance is fantastic. And all of a sudden, the audience is like fucking church mice. You couldn't pay school kids to be that quiet.
It's like, hello? Anybody? Are we still there? But you have to use that.
Yeah.
You can't just go, shit. You have to. Okay, I'll give you some fucking back and see if I can't wire you back.
You handled that extremely well too. And I don't actually think it was I don't think it was anything bad or negative from the audience. I honestly, like my observation has been, I feel like people have almost. There's like this weird social awkwardness that's set in after the pandemic because we were all so isolated. I even see it when you meet people. Like you meet a lot of people face to face, and it's like they don't know how to be around people anymore.
There's also kind of a what the fuck is going on kind of aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? What do we do now? But yeah, I agree with the pandemic bullshit, all that. Do you find also there was obviously when things started opening up again, it was like gig, everything just flooding through, kind of almost too much.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people, a lot of bands that didn't do anything for quite a while, wasn't there? If you think about it, I mean, it took quite a while to get bands back in the rotation again.
Mm.
But yeah, I agree. Maybe people forgot how to react.
Yeah.
At gigs.
It's not. There's like, it's almost like there's a new novelty to it again that there wasn't before. They were used to it previously, and maybe you could argue they were taking it for granted when it was like that. But yeah, there's definitely like a revived novelty to.
Not bringing back the anti-mosh stance.
No, definitely not. Well, that's the thing. I you know the band Fugazi. They used to be like vehemently anti-mosh. Like when you mosh to their shows, you got ejected. And I was, I'm also, I don't necessarily want to be in the thick of the action, but I will definitely say the best shows I've ever been to is the shows where the crowd has turned into complete fucking chaos, carnage. I mean, I remember seeing Slayer for the first time. I had my cousin with me, and he had this canary yellow t-shirt on, and when they started playing, we were in the Astoria, and the Astoria, you'll remember, had a pretty wide floor. And you could literally see him like pop up, like every so often, like he'd pop up in one corner, and then there he is, like, oh, there he is now. So, and that was so much fun. It's like that's part of the entertainment of the show. Like I want to see that level of craziness. I want to hear, Tom Araya asked me if I'm ready for war. I don't want to see just fucking band standing on stage like I'm there to spectate at their rehearsal. Yeah. I'm not interested in that.
If you want to listen to music, then listen to
music, yeah.
or listen to a CD. If you want to go to a gig, participate in the gig. It's live music. It's meant to be fucking chaotic.
Yeah. And you guys you're sort of in a weird way the quintessential live black metal band, because most of your first releases were all live recordings until you kind of finally got the monkey off your back and got the foot back. Yeah. Does it feel? I mean, does it feel like you? Like it was a monkey that you needed to get off your back, like it was almost in a weird way like a hurdle you needed to cross?
There was a definite bane of contention there.
Yeah.
But like I've said to you before, we chatted, it wouldn't have mattered to me how long it took, but it just needed to be right. And just so many fucking things had to be together to make the final thing we needed to make. And it ended up being more like an anthology more than an album. Yeah. So things we did obviously Glorious Satan back off of Walpurgisnacht, that was on it, a re-recording of that. But all the songs, like I've said to you before, have been tweaked and developed and everything. So yes, it's good, it's gone, it's good, it's finished, it's out there. It's had a fairly decent reception, I think.
I was just about to say, what's been your experience of going through that album release cycle, getting something out, doing the proper full length?
To say we've not done many, not a great deal of experience with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What I mean is the experience of this record.
Oh, there's this one in particular. Yeah. It was an uphill slog. It was an absolute trauma to get it done. Because we're such picky bastards.
Yeah.
The amount of times it's been redone, the amount of times things that drums been redone, vocals, everything's been redone. I probably shouldn't comment on how many times it's been redone because it would have been done ages ago. But there was just something about those recordings that just wasn't right. Because it didn't feel right, it didn't get released.
So what do you look for in a recording? Like if you guys are in the studio, you're putting something together and you're listening back to the fruits of your labors, what are you looking for as that kind of spark that tells you this is the one we're going to go for?
Don't know. You have to just feel it. Obviously the music has to be correct.
Yeah.
But there also has to be an element of, did I just fucking do that? Get out. Yeah. I was trying to find a middle ground between, I hate recording, by the way. I fucking hate studio recording.
How come?
Boring.
Yeah.
Absolutely boring.
I've only ever been in the studio twice. One was just literally to kind of produce, and the other was actually recording vocals, and I found it tiresome as well. I couldn't stand it.
Why? I didn't start this to be in a small little room with padded foam and just sing to myself.
Yeah.
I want to be on stage.
Yeah.
I want to do what we did tonight. But yeah, I find it really hard to build up the kind of mental energy I need to do to get what I need to do if I'm just stood in the studio. So I guess the answer is the music and everything in its correct form, but also an element of surprise. Try to weave in a little bit of chaos from a live aspect. So obviously, as you can write a song, you can record a song, A to B, and then when you play it live, something fucks up in the middle, but that's added something to it.
Yeah.
So I guess with True English Black Metal, we've played those songs all the way from the beginning, but over the years, something happened to them, and then we've added that little element of chaos, a little gem of what the fuck was that, into the recording, and we know it's there. Everybody else doesn't. Everybody just thinks it's part of the song. We know it's there, and we know exactly what gig that happened at. We know exactly the feeling that we had from that, and we're like, fuck, what's going on? So that little sparks, little things that happen. So I guess that's kind of the answer.
Do you record? Do you record a lot of stuff? Or do you listen to a lot of soundboard recordings that you guys do?
Well, gig-wise,
yeah,
we record everything.
Yeah,
everything. We record. Well, that's probably me being the fucking finicky idiot that I probably am.
Yeah,
I record everything. Every gig has got at least 2 cameras. Every rehearsal is recorded, because again, you never know when something's going to happen.
Yeah, and you don't want to forget about it. You don't want to you don't want to have sort of this memory you can talk about, but you can recreate.
You can play it back, and I mean, it's not even about kind of writing music, because you don't really write music in the rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Obviously, if somebody's got a riff, then you play them, whatever. But song development is something that you have to keep progressing with, and keep surprising yourself, and keep surprising your bandmates, because they're the people. Yourself and your bandmates are what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
You know, do it for the crowd. If they're great, if they enjoy it, brilliant. You know, the old saying, "Don't fucking do it for you, I do it for myself," kind of thing. If you can't surprise yourself, you can't surprise your bandmates and keep them energized and keep them into it, then it'll just fizzle away.
Yeah, yeah. And there is definitely something to be said around doing it for yourself, because the law of averages suggests there are people that are similar to you in terms of the mindset, stuff they like, and if you do something that gives you that excitement and that spark, it's going to do exactly the same for them. And I think a lot of people forget about that, and so then they try and cater to an audience, or they try and cater to a crowd, and that's where things fall apart. Because that, I've spoken about it on the show now with a couple of different people, but that, especially in black metal, I find that inauthenticity, people can sniff that out very, very quickly. It's not like it's the most intellectual, subgenre of music. Let's be honest here. But it's the one thing that every single black metal fan has a nose for, no matter what their walk of life, is inauthenticity. They can pick it up immediately. It's pretty shocking as well when you start hearing about certain bands, without naming any names, where you talk to some of the folks and they say, "Oh, we do X, Y, Z in our music because we know that's what sells to black metal audiences." Or you see folks. I saw somebody, on stage a while back, who the guy standing there with like a Leeds football T-shirt. Now, I mean, I don't require every single black metal band to, be corpse painted and have the spikes and shit, but I at least want to feel like there's like some effort made. You just turning up in whatever old shit you're going to wear at home when you're sitting watching TV, that's not really going to cut it, I don't think.
It's the thing. Exactly. It's like with corpse paint spikes, and people say it's a cliche. It's a cliche to me if you're not wearing them.
Yeah.
It's a cliche to me if you're not making the effort If you're not making the effort, why the fuck would the crowd make the effort watching you?
Yeah.
Visually, the visual aspect, not equally, but it's as important as the music.
Mm.
If you go on stage and you're fucking ripping it up and everything else, and yeah, you do drop a few fuck ups musically, it's a good chance people won't even see that.
Yeah.
But if you're stood there in t-shirt, shorts and white pumps, not fucking giving it anything, people aren't going to give a damn.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not why I've got into this. It's different. It's. I'm sure you've bought corpse paint on 1,000 times before at home.
A couple of times, not at home, but I've had it on at fancy dress parties. There's a photo. I'll send you a picture of me. There's an old photo of me that I had some. I did like proper like Mortus corpse paint, like smeared corpse paint. But that's if I like.
You looked different to me when
I need to start a band.
That's a good excuse.
I just on the style of corpse paint, I do like that Mortus corpse paint the most. It like looks like you literally come out of the war. It doesn't look like corpse paint. It looks like fucking engine fumes burnt onto your face.
Well, again, I mean, you've heard in numerous different interviews where people say it's like a switch that's gone in your head and raw.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it really fucking is. Doing a sound check before a show, it doesn't feel awkward because you just get on with it. That's what you have to do. But as soon as you put the fucking makeup on, as soon as you put things on, you change. I can feel myself physically changed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here to do a job, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing will stop me, I'm gonna fucking do it. And before that happens, it's not like any hesitancy or any doubt or anything like that. I'll still get on and do it without corpse paint if I needed to, but it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
I've only ever done one gig without corpse paint. That was when I was with Hecate Enthroned years back.
Were you in Hecate Enthroned? I didn't know that.
Briefly.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, unfortunately.
How so?
Just logistically.
G14 classified files.
Just logistically.
Yeah.
Amazing guys, they really are fucking brothers. Love them to pieces, but it was logistically, and plus where I were back then, that time in my life just didn't work.
Yeah, yeah. What sort of time was that? Because I'm wondering, there was a period of time where you couldn't fucking go to any show where they weren't opening, and I was just wondering whether I didn't see you at one of those.
It would have been 2014. 2000.
Yeah, no, I would have missed that. There was like, when at the peak of me going to shows, it was like 2002 through to about 2008, 2009.
It wasn't fucking 2014, was it? I can't remember. I think it probably was earlier. I'll have to maybe consult the metal archives because things just happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was obviously I knew him for years, and it was an honour to be asked to at least go and try out, and it wasn't. Yeah, off you go, do it, brilliant.
Yeah.
But there was just too many things. There's too many moving parts back then, and I wasn't the same person I am now. Then bad, shitty relationships and that kind of thing. Didn't have the funds to give them what I needed to give them. I couldn't be the person they needed me to be, even though they were happy. I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And the respect I had for them meant that I had to.
You weren't happy as a person, or you weren't happy with a band?
With their band?
Or weren't happy with your performance, or it was like more of a personal thing that you weren't happy with?
It was, as I say, it was a weird time where a lot of moving parts and a lot of shit was happening, and I couldn't commit as much as I needed to, as much as I knew they needed me to commit.
Yeah.
So I let it go.
Yeah, yeah. And so how long have I known you for now? Probably since 2000 or 2021. So about 2 years now. And you're, you know, especially in comparison to the man on stage, you're a remarkably centered, chilled out dude, which I don't think, I mean, you know, I don't think a lot of people potentially realize, given how intense you are when you're on stage. And I mean, they really ought to, because I think that's kind of the tale of a lot of people that we listen to in this scene. But you've got a family, you live a pretty normal life outside of this music. Your family, are they? What's their thoughts on your musical endeavors and on Dagon up on stage?
Well, my daughter loves it.
Yeah.
Like I've said to you before, with the good old monomorph thing, when she thought that was me initially, you know, could have picked a better band, I suppose. But
I was about to say, I'd write her out of the will for that, man.
Right, that's enough. But yeah, I mean, my parents, when they were alive, they were all up for it, very supportive. They never actually made it to a show, unfortunately, but I think that had probably gone down very well. But yeah, everybody was very supportive. My missus is very supportive.
Yeah.
She's usually been to more gigs and festivals than I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all in 100%.
Yeah. Remind me how old your daughter is?
She's 5.
5. Oh, no. So she's a bit young to come to shows. She can just see you on videos and stuff.
Just the videos for now. She started. We took her to a biker festival a couple of months back. That was her first kind of outdoor music-y kind of thing. Terrible bands, but
I was about to say, what kind of bands?
It was just all covers bands. Just imagine the most cliche biker music you can imagine. It was that. But she enjoyed it, I think, and then we'll slowly step things up. I think she wants to see him on and off, to be honest.
Really?
I don't know what it is.
That's an interesting band to be attracted to.
Don't know. Don't know why.
It's been the most interesting part for me or one of the most interesting parts of having a daughter is the things they start to get into, like when they develop their own tastes, their own likes, their own dislikes. Meta, when she was young, I think I told you, like she was obsessed with Pantera, like especially Walk. And she would sit in the car, and we would, you know, the song would play, then I would just hear her repeating in the back, walk, 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 until I play it again. And then she started liking things like Killing Joke, Susie and the Banshees, and stuff like that. She would call Susie and the Bancheeks. and then I would say Susie and the Banshees, but she would then argue with me and say it's a different band. Anyway, and now she's, I mean, unfortunately some pop nonsense has come in because I don't have her. I don't have her all the time, so you know I can't completely remove those elements from her upbringing. But I'm taking her to Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride in December, so I'm quite excited about that. I'm curious to see how she's gonna respond to that, because she knows Paradise Lost music, but it's a different thing to know it, you know, because Daddy listens to it in the car, and to actually see it up. You know, she's going to be 9 years old. She's going because it's like 8+ is fine as long as you sit upstairs. So I thought, okay, let this be her introduction to it. If she likes it, she can come to some more. If she doesn't, then you know, at least she can tell her kids one day.
It's definitely going to be worse punch.
I was about to say, I went to go see Paradise Lost doing Icon for its 30th anniversary. What a fucking thing to be able to have seen. Because it's only going to be a limited run of shows as well.
Absolutely, good memory. Very good memory to have.
Yeah. If she doesn't appreciate it again, obviously we're talking about her being taken out of the world.
Locked in the shed until she...
Locked in the stable. She sleeps in the stables with the horses now.
I really don't know what the first band she'll see. You know, kids like they go up and down and in and out with, can you imagine?
Scarred for life, mate.
Wow. What kind of uphill progression? If she starts on Mayhem, by the time she gets to our age, what a band's going to be sounding like when she gets to our age?
Yeah. Well, that's also something I've always wondered about. When I was young, I remember, you know, being into AC/DC and like, you know, when I started to get into heavy music, you know, your parents would talk about, well, you know, what's music going to sound like when you know you're our age and stuff like that, and it got heavier. But a lot of in the newer generation of music, there's a lot of great music coming out, but there's also a lot of very fucking wimpy ass music coming out. Let's be honest, like music that we would have referred to the people in the bands as poseurs when we were younger. It doesn't feel to me like there's no further boundaries to push when it comes to extremity, at least in sound. If there is, I've yet to see.
Not authentic sound.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, studio-wise, anything goes.
Yeah.
But we've had the studio discussion. To me, that's not what you do.
Yeah.
But, like, how fast can the drummer go? How quick can you pick your... how fast can you play your guitar, and what's the highest pitch you can scream? But
that's the thing too. It's like, if I think about menace, real menace, this is, comes back to what we were talking about with the way you guys write your riffs and your songs. Real menace to me, there's this. Let's take a classic death metal song, because I've spoken about it a million times. That breakdown piece in Sacrificial Suicide on the first Deicide album, the damn duel. It's like a total mid-tempo, the most basic thing. Someone who's just learned to play guitar can figure that out for themselves in an afternoon. With a da-da-da-da-da-da. It is so fucking nasty. It's so mean. Like Chainsaw Gutsfuck is a great example as well. The most basic of songs. But you can take 500 songs that are played at 225 or 250 beats per minute, screaming all over the place. It can sound as extreme as it wants. Take like the heaviest, I love an Al Nathrak, but take the heaviest thing an Al Nathrak ever did. Hold it up to Chainsaw Gutsfuck, it's not comparable. Chainsaw Gutsfuck is a song that sounds like it is truly menacing, and like people are going to get hurt if it's played anywhere in their vicinity. An Al Nathrak, brilliant, very extreme, but it just doesn't have that kind of spark, that sense of danger and that sense of menace. It's just not there.
Bring the danger back to black metal.
100%, and that's what it needs.
It does need it.
That's what's so fun about seeing a band like Marduk nowadays, because usually they're one of the real ones. Like they have that cool ambient racket playing in between each song, and Mortis is yelling and stuff like that. And dude, I've heard the new Marduk album in its entirety. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You are, if you like Marduk, if you like especially Serpent Sermon, Wormwood, that era of Marduk, you will be in your element. This is a full-on Mortis album. He even has like a song, I can't remember what it's called, it's like the Shuffle or something, I can't remember the song's name, where it's almost like it is when it's live. It like plays that same music that plays when he's talking, and he's like basically yelling at you like throughout the song. It's like do you get it yet? Or like it's fucking genius, absolute genius.
Borderline abuse.
Exactly. He did actually abuse the audience when I saw them play at the Underworld. They started off with I can't remember what it was, like one of the songs of Panzer Division. And the song like finishes, and the music's the ambient stuff is playing, and he looks over the crowd and he goes, "London, you fucking cowards!" And then the song kicks in, and the next song kicks in. Genius. I mean, that
one for the book, those. You fucking cowards. I remember that one.
So we were talking on Facebook about the second album, and that's, the creative cycle has definitely accelerated a bit for Heathen Deity. So where are you guys up to with that now? Is this like draft 1 of 77, or is it like, are you taking more of the approach of we're gonna do it and then
we've been through the draft fuck-ups before anything was ever mentioned.
Yeah.
So we've been through that. But nobody knew we was going through that.
Yeah.
And it happened a lot quicker. A lot fucking quicker.
Not 25 years ago.
No. It's I've spoken to you about this before. It's written.
Yeah.
It's all written in its entirety. It's all been demoed already. We all know it works. We all know exactly what we're doing.
Have you road tested some of the songs yet?
2 tonight.
Okay. What 2 did you road test?
One called "Fucking Worthless."
Yeah.
And
I was about to say there was like at least 2 moments in the show where I was like, I don't know that song of Greenish black metal, and both songs were cool. Both songs had that kind of venomous, riff, like mid-tempo riffing as well at some point in the song, which I fucking just love. So
there was "Worthless" was one of them, and the new one we were going to start doing with these 25 years of heathenry gigs, which is the name of the new album.
25 years of heathenry.
Satan's Kingdom.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's the little bombshell for you if you want to use that one.
I will, mate.
That is the name of the new album.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Now, here's a question for you, and you can comment on it how you wish. But what's it like being without your brother on stage? Because Mark was such a mainstay in the band, and I know you guys are still friends. Because obviously, I see you sort of commenting back and forth on each other's stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. But that must have come as a bit of a blow. Did you see it? Did you see it coming?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, he's obviously still writing for us. He commented the other day about starting to develop new riffs already for whatever happens after this next album. He's always doing things. He's always there. He's still. We have a band chat thing, and he's obviously still in that. He always comments that he is still nervous. He seems to be more nervous than we are. Like I think it was earlier today, he mentioned that he was nervous for us to come here today to play. What are you fucking nervous about? Oh, I just want to make sure it goes all right for me. I'm fucking fine. We'll just do what we do. Just another day in the office kind of thing. Just get on with it. But yes, it is strange. It is very strange. I don't know. It's obviously for knowing him for so long, knowing all his little mannerisms and the way he plays and all that kind of thing, and the banter and the bullshit we used to go through even on stage, to maybe sometimes in the early days kind of throw each other out a little bit to see how you deal with this little, developing your stagecraft kind of thing. Little things like that are a bit weird, but yeah, he's still there. I've commented to you before about he's the English demonized now.
Yeah.
So
I was just about to say, it's not the worst situation to be in, where he's still contributing musically to the band. He's not completely out, but he doesn't have to be in. He doesn't have to play shows and stuff like that. And that was really what was behind it. It's priorities change. Want to be with the family.
Yeah, that's all. Just family things. Just didn't feel the live aspect anymore, and I respect him for bowing out when he did. If he was going to continue just doing what he's doing and fucking hating what he's doing, and resenting us for whipping the fucking horses, like, come on, look, keep doing it. He wouldn't have been happy. We wouldn't have been happy. It would have ended up being a thing. It wouldn't have been what we all want. So when he honoured the shows that we agreed to do, and crept off back into the shadows.
Was slunk back into the shadows. Well, like I said, I think that's a good scenario to be in. Like, he can still be your riff man, and
he's still a big part of the band.
Yeah,
definitely. He's still writing with me. He helps me with art things, bits and bobs. He's fucking brilliant at Photoshop and that kind of thing. I think I annoy him the shit out of him. So, can you just add that to this picture, and can you just change send him a photo and just make that a bit darker and do that and edit that fucking exit sign out the back of that kind of thing, that kind of thing. It's like, for fuck's sake. But yeah, he's still there. He's the sixth member.
So you're writing. Do you play a load of instruments yourself?
Not to any degree where I consider myself to be a musician.
You consider yourself proficient?
No. I did when Heathen went on its hiatus. I did form a solo project as well, and did a couple of albums with that and a couple of releases. But I don't consider myself to be a guitarist. I play bass to a degree, but I'm not a musician. I think that's probably one of the things me and Mark used to work together well with. I could kind of portray to him what I wanted something to sound like, and he picked up and just played it. He was the hands. He was the skill needed. To get out what I had in here, but myself, I would like, what the fuck fucking hell am I doing with this kind of thing? So, oh no, do this, change that, do that, and that kind of thing. But with the solo stuff I did, it was just to keep things ticking over, just to keep doing things. I don't think it was ever something I'd think about doing live. It was just a bit of an experiment for me, really.
Yeah, and just keep kind of staying creative, keeping a hand, keeping at least one foot in music, and not being out of it completely.
But I do have an album ready for that as well.
Oh, for your solo stuff. Wow. Okay.
I've done two. I think it's 2 albums. Have I not shown you this stuff before?
No.
Have I not? No, I'll send it over. It's called Frostwork.
Yeah.
Because the name kind of, you can imagine the kind of thing it is.
Suggests what it might sound like. So
total opposite ends of Heathen Deity.
Yeah, I was about to say, when will that be coming out?
It's been ready for quite a while, but ever since things started picking up again with Heathen, that's just kind of...
Yeah.
And maybe as soon as this album's done and we'll have a break from recording for a bit, maybe I'll finish that one off.
And then as far as this new Heathen Deity album is concerned, when do you think that would see the light of day?
I was speaking to Dale about it earlier. Yesterday. I wanted it to be out this year, but I don't think it will be. It's probably going to be early next year now.
Because you'd have the vinyl lead up and all sorts of malarkey to think about with that.
I think we still are just finishing off the true English black metal kind of rotation anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously with still a few little releases coming out. We did a 7-inch vinyl, another picture disc coming out, and little things like that. While things like that are still happening, I don't mind the album, the new album kind of taking a back seat, but just you'll have your time kind of thing. One last thing to get out from this, and I think the 25 years of heathenry is, once these gigs are done, then that cycle is done.
Yeah.
True English black metal cycle is done. It ends with these gigs. It's a pretty momentous thing.
Yeah, massively.
And as soon as that is done, obviously now I've got a new guitarist as well. Well, you wait to hear what we chuck out next.
And then anything else that's on the horizon outside of releasing the new record, finishing the cycle?
Okay. I think we've got there's another 3 shows I think we've got booked for this 25 years. After that, I've got a few little things kicking off, but I'd rather not mention them because I don't know if they're going to actually happen or not.
Yeah.
We have quite a bit of... if I was going to say that would be obvious what it was. Yes.
You're like me.
I am.
Whenever I know something's going to happen on the podcast that's big, I have just learned now. I never want to talk about it because it's just I'm just too superstitious. It just like when it doesn't happen, I'm like, fuck sakes, I should never have said a word about it. So no, I understand.
So there's things happening.
Yeah.
There's definitely things happening. The new album obviously is the priority. The drums are being recorded now. They've been done. The guitars are all recorded. The vocals have had a demo kind of scratch track kind of bit, which to be honest I think some of the parts I'll use because I don't know what the hell was going through my mind when I was doing them. There's fucking evil shit coming out. So I think I'll use them, maybe develop it a little bit more, add to it. So it's all near enough there. It's all going to be a case of just little tweaks, and obviously the mixing, the mastering.
You going to be using your clean singing more on the new material? Because I have to tell you, that is a real asset that you've got there. Like I can take or leave clean singing, but when it's done well, it's fucking brilliant. Like Attila does it very, very well. Again, hearing you today at on stage, you kind of switch into that and pull it off live extremely well. on the greatest spots of true English black metal for me, there's kind of that presence there of your clean singing.
Yeah, you mentioned on various stages, didn't you?
Yeah, you're a very talented, like, just actual vocalist, like, just singing vocalist. Are you going to be doing more of that on this new record?
Well, on the one we kind of played tonight on Satan's Kingdom, there's obviously the clean section of that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think how many songs have clean vocals in them. You see, there's also been the aspect of, when we do an album, we always try to have an acoustic song. And originally, like on Walpurgis Now, that was literally just acoustic. That was obviously just Mark playing an acoustic guitar. Then on True English Black Metal, we did Fires of Albion, which kind of started off with the acoustic guitar, and then obviously the vocals came in, and even ended on a a cappella vocal section, which I didn't tell Mark I was doing. I just did that. That was one of those little studio things that kind of, I wonder if I just did this. Ooh, build on it. And to me, that song and that section of that song, especially, I think it leads into Gut the Church as well, the next track on. Maybe wrong, but I think it does. It's just the way it kind of, the wave, I can see like a wave going up and dipping down, straight back fucking up again with Gut the Church. A bit of a journey, an audible journey kind of thing. But yes, there will be more clean singing.
Excellent.
And there is another side project, isn't there? Which where the clean singing came from with Mark.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Called Thornmund.
Yeah.
Which was, we didn't, again, there's going to be an album with that one as well soon. About 5-6 songs.
Yeah.
Written, sorry. We've only ever done one gig. That was at the Blackwood Gathering in 2016, possibly. Just me and him, Blackwoods, and you got to keep things interesting.
Yeah.
As much as I love screaming and shouting and abusing people, it's like you mentioned with songs with blast beats. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Then where's it going? What's it doing?
Yeah. You have to keep your appetite fresh for it, because otherwise it becomes perfunctory.
You have to keep yourself interested.
Yeah, 100%.
The hardest thing is keeping yourself interested, especially after 25 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like I said before, do things that surprise you and your bandmates.
Yeah. My friend, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Great that we finally did this.
Been a while.
Yeah, it has. It most certainly has. But I'm glad we finally got to do something face to face. So we'll certainly stay in touch, and we'll be doing another one of these in the future again, no doubt. So now that we're doing more face to face, I think we should.
It was a good idea to do the live thing. A very good idea.
Yeah. 100%. Well, you've got David Gray to thank for that, because it would never have happened had he not insisted on doing one live rather than doing one on Zoom. So that's why all of these are happening now. So, but I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's just a different vibe when you speak to someone in person.
Do you find you enjoying these more than the Zoom things? Or?
Yes, and overall, yes. The reason I enjoy it more is there's a different dynamic to the conversation. You can have a more natural, more flowing conversation.
On your toes as well, don't you? Because obviously you can be sat behind your computer and maybe have some notes written off camera that we can't see.
That never happens. But it's. I mean, I might when I'm. You might see me like look at something very quickly on my phone to see like something on Metal Archives or whatever. Yeah. But that's about
just checking dates and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's about as far as it goes. I never prepare anything for an interview. Never. I would if it got to that, I would just not do it anymore. It's not fun for me. Which is why I only get people on who, if I don't already have an existing interest in their music or an existing interest in them as people, then I don't see the point of getting them on.
Well, I guess what you're doing is just vocalizing data that's already there to be read.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as I said to you before, the philosophy is everyone has something they want to talk about. You just need to steer them in that direction. They'll talk about it. You don't have to push. You don't have to try and have any kind of set agenda, or have any sort of plan before you go in, the conversation will go where it wants to go.
Good fucking chit chat for hours.
Yeah, exactly. So, cool. All right, man.
Well,
Thank you
till
very
next
much.
time, eh?
Bolton. Oh yeah. I didn't know you. It's the preserve of a few that made in this country at least. So we'll do that for sure. I'll bring you some fucking fantastic Bolton. So,
Right.
all right, my man.
Thank you.
That was a song called The Black Goat Infernal by Heathen Deity off their most recent record, True English Black Metal. It's available right now on Cult Never Dies. We will look forward to the release of its follow-up, and we will definitely have Dagon on when the time comes. But a big thank you and a shout out to him for his time. And I also just want to say thank you once again to Gary and everybody over at Reaper Agency for the way in which they hosted Paige and I at ReaperFest. News has already broken of the absolutely staggering lineup that is going to make up Fortress Fest that Gary will be hosting next year. And good news, if you are planning to attend, I will definitely be there also. I'll be talking to some of the bands that are there, and so if you like these kinds of in-person conversations, you can stand a bit of background noise, but you know that it's made up for by the difference in dynamics of actually sitting face to face with somebody and getting to look them in their beady little eyes. Then you're in luck, because there's going to be plenty more of these episodes down the road. Right now, friends, I am going to take my leave of you. I hope you all have a great weekend. Make sure you are back here on Tuesday for my conversation with Alan. In the meantime, I am leaving you with one of, in my opinion, the very best songs recorded in 2023, or certainly released in 2023. This is Marduk with Shovel Beats Scepter. Whatever it is that you're doing, wherever it is that you are, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you bad motherfuckers again next week.
Has it dawned on you yet? 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 Have you begun to grasp? That life is not a cloud. But an hourglass. Are you prepared? Is your rat list in order? Will your mind be at ease? suffer, no matter what you've been told. So stop now and consider that you've never been this old. That you've never been this old. That you've never been this old. Hopeless heart. Never been this old. Let's alone this land. Never been this old. Feeling times brings me nothing comes. A painful man from the goodness lips. One flesh discussed when it's covered hard. Only a box gave the cross, confident savior. Leave the north, man the box, shut the gate.